So I'm thinking I want to make a few more panel options. And I might want to change the mode that I use for creating the panels. But I want to create something kind of like these in here. And then these, and create lights. This. Let's get to it. So the holes are easy. They're just going to be these, basically. And then I'll pipe that mask out for doing the glow effect. Should I make these larger? It's so good. Oh, let's start it as a gradation, but I'm gonna use the shape version. And then levels, so I can change the profile of it. Oops. This is the top, and it's gonna kind of slope down. So, our values, I'm gonna change the profile of the slope. And then mask it with basically a rectangle. And we'll bring the black value up a little bit. And I think I'm going to round these corners a little. Punk going on. Oh, I was checking on Soup in the background. Don't die on me. Spicy.
I ate a jalapeno slice and then breathed in the vapors.
I want to do a little like extra outset thing on it. So there's like a little crease around it. I'm going to shrink it a touch. Actually, keep it. Use this. Add my fine edge detect. Shoop. And I'm working on 256, so that one pixel is really big. So that gives me the edge, and then I need to shrink it even more. Which I could do through another levels. Let's see what these look like. I'll blend it together. Not far enough. No, maybe that's okay. I'm gonna call this a drain. I don't know what else to call it. So we move to our panel style and meshed hole. We're gonna add another one, 7. Drain, whatever. Test to see what it looks like. It looks okay, partially because the mask that I'm creating from the height map here. It's a bit weird with the surface detail image stuff. And it's going the wrong way. This was correct the whole time. Oh, and this changes the direction. This is the flat area at the bottom. Get some height so we can see, and set that. All right. The loading bar. It's true. It's not what I want though. I want it to look like a loading bar. I want it to look like that. So I'm looking at this tiny thing right here. Joseph. Brandon, what's going on, man? This is a continuation of what is now a 4-part series, I guess. Goes like, what, a third of the way, a third of the way, a third of the way? We'll do that. Third. Something like that. So in low, I'll set this to 3s. In high, set this to 6s. So this is a master sci-fi panel maker thingy. Let me set my defaults back.
Siri, did you watch the West?
Load preset default.
It doesn't look like anything to me. I appreciate it so much.
Alright, now we go to composite. Alright, so what size are we working at?
These violet delights have violet ends. I know.
So I can choose my aesthetic, make it rusty, then I have to switch this, and then I have some rusted panels. I can change my panel style to something like vents. And I get my vents. Currently I have seams syncing off. I could turn that on so we don't get seams running through stuff. I can change the number of panels. Instead of vents, I could do an alcove. And then if it's an alcove, I have to turn this to yeah. Otherwise, it's blowing away the color. So in this view, I haven't set up all my parameters. And I'm thinking about how I want to do it. The tile division? Yeah, this was done with the tile generator. Let's start it off. Da, 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 da. I wonder why those are off. Oh, I know exactly why they're off. Yes, but I'm thinking of switching it here. I have 2 tile generators, one that shrinks it but that math isn't factored in here, so it's not actually synchronized. Yeah, I might do tile random, and that might get me better results. So I'm gonna test that out. No split mode. That gets me close to that. No randomness. Thank you. Because with tile random, the interstice is the same, which I had to build into the tile generator. It doesn't have the same mask control. I don't have to build my own. That'd be annoying. So I think I just get rid of this. And I could have an additional gap for the horizontal piece. Not a bad deal. It's pretty good. And then one of the other things that was bothering me was when I changed my corner width, these shrink in a lot, and really they shouldn't. They should only shrink when I change the corner size, which currently they operate the inverse of that. I'd like to have them stay a little bit more with the corner. So I'm going to edit that FX map. We're going to turn off every corner for now. And just mess with it. Should probably organize things, because I can't keep track. So if it's 1 minus, then it's vertical. And a bunch of stuff we're not using. Alright, we'll clean this up. Okay, so where are these coming from? Interesting. I'm going to use the bolts because it's in the middle. And that'll tell me where the center needs to go. Currently, it's way off because you need to have a 0.5 in here, which might have been what that adding was, but because everything moves from 0.5 out. So 0.5 is this. Just these like arbitrary values. Whoa! Drew. Thanks for the follow. So I'm pretty sure that's who it was. Hey. Alright. Okay, so for those who are just joining, or weren't here for the 8 hours of work beforehand. So I have this octagon, and throw a new one in there. So what I needed to calculate was the length of this edge so that I could place my seam there vertically, here, and then one horizontally too, which I can turn on and off. So I needed the edge length here. But I also have the ability to scale it, and that edge length grows. So in order to calculate the length of this edge, I basically have to solve the octagon. So I have this equation, which is just law of sines for solving that octagon, that I'm using here. So I have my corner size, which is basically my scale, and then I get the edge length. And then depending on where we are along that edge, here is calculating that. So as this edge moves in and out, oops, our FX map. So I have this width. So as this edge here moves in, and top panel seam, it stays along that corner. And if I change the size of my corner, it still moves along that angled edge. So I have to solve for this location. In here, which I don't think this math is going to work with the way that the FX map works. Because the way the FX map works is 0, 0 is the middle, and then it's 0.5 and 0.5, as opposed to the scale, which is moving from the middle out. So you can see that this guy is totally lost. I'm going to try getting rid of the corner shifting. Okay, so according to the math that it's doing, it says that it needs to be right here, which is incorrect. Which is probably what I did before, which was trial and error, get it to be correct. So treat these as percentages. That should work. All the way around. So then do 0, divide. So now it's placing the corner of this square, think where it's supposed to be. And then I just have to offset it by the width of the thing, because I can change the scale of this. Yeah, not really. Okay. Save. This is rotation. Yeah, you're gonna recreate that. Oh no. Okay. We're just gonna set our number of turns to 0. Cool, so this is going to give me my edge length of this edge up here. The set node allows me to call that value later in the parameters. So rotation is down here, and it's just grabbing that value. If I didn't set that rotation value, it wouldn't be able to grab it. So I set rotation so that I can grab that value. So if I change this, we're going to see the rotation change, but I'm not in rotation right now. I'm in branch offset. So it basically takes whatever its input value is and stores it as a variable that I can get later. And then the sequence makes sure that it gets set in the correct order. Basically. I still haven't figured that all out yet. So this is my horizontal. Yeah, it is. And then you use it in final, but just to make sure that your set's actually working and it's actually getting it properly and it's not a calculation issue. So in another project that I'm working on, I have all my sets and sequences in place to make sure that everything's getting set properly before I'm replacing this with a calculation. So I have a feeling that this value is actually wrapping around. So I'm going to test that theory by subtracting a small amount, finding out that yes, in fact it is. So that's where it should be. Yeah, putting them all together is really nice. I'm able to stay in one graph and do all my changes and stuff here, especially if you need to use your position to drive your rotation, which is what I'm doing in the other project. Amy Payne, thanks for the follow. So that's, I'm just trying to imagine how large this piece is, so I'm going to make it. Oh, awesome. She also do texturing. Nice. Does this have auto scale on it? It does. Um, okay, so this is allowing me to see right now is roughly where my corner is. Enjoy your lunch. I'll probably be here when you get back. Enjoy the snow. So that means that the corner of this placement is here, and that the center is being placed here. So I'm thinking that instead of 1, minus, I need to subtract 0.5. This is tricky. So I want it to be placed right here on that corner. So I have my corner width, which is being determined by this angled piece. So if I just use this as is, the center is a little bit off. It's probably because it needs to be okay, and driving pattern size. Actually making it half as large, which means that it needs to be why rewrite something when you've already written it. I don't need to calculate it twice. This is vertical. And I probably want to reorganize these nodes a little bit, but we'll just do this for now. And I think I have to do the same thing. To get it to be in the middle. And now, in theory, now let's see if it tracks with the corner. And we change our width. It does not. It moves in the opposite direction. But it moves along that edge, which is cool. Like it should. But it's just moving in the opposite direction. Whoop. Probably crashed it. Oh, it recovers. Yay. Oh, because it's moving in the opposite direction. Wish there was a nice way to be able to just change stuff. Okay, it's moving in like it should now. I think I just realized what the issue is. So the edge movement is moving on a scale of 1 versus 0.5, which is the way that these move, and that's not correct. I'll have to figure that out, because that's a different, it's like the inverse. So instead of using this, use this. Alright, so let's see if this tracks. Try this. Yeah, I can't get back out to the project. Not going. Bummer. Very nice little piece of usability. Okay, the sender is now tracking like it should with the center of this, which means my calculations for that are correct. And the solve is use exactly what I was doing before, except the problem is that it's running across this scale and it's a percentage based on that, which is a scale of 1 versus the FX map, which has 0, 0 in the middle, and then this is positive 0.5, negative 0.5. So I need to divide that by 2 so that it's operating on that scale of 0.5. So I multiply by 0.5, or divide it by 2 to get it to track there. Now it's not moving vertically correctly because that's an inverse relationship. As I move this in, this moves up. So this might be an adding scenario. Nope. So what it's doing is it's figuring out what this length is. It should be 0.5 minus that. Wow, it's going to be negative 0.5. Let's see how that tracks. So you can see that the hexagon is outpacing the edge. It gets closer, 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 and then farther, farther, farther away. Which means that this is on the wrong scale, which leads me to believe that we need to fix the scale. wish I could tear this off. Can I? Huh. Okay, I'm gonna tear this off. It's going on my other display so I can change things more easily. Okay, so it's staying the same distance now, but so this is negative, so we're creating a negative 0.5. Could presumably multiply that. No. Okay, so now the center is staying with it. If I change my corner size, it stays with. And then I just need to offset this back in by its width, which I haven't set, and so I'm going to go use that. So I have this pattern size, which I'm calculating in here. I copy that. I'm going to get a float 2, and this is going to be called corner size, corner scale. I'll set that as the output. It should break, basically, because it doesn't have anything. Sequence. This is going to go here. Up here. We'll just do a float 2 for now. Set. Corner scale. Here. So now the scale is 0, it's disappeared. If I change these, it should come back. That's being weird. Corner size, so rotation gets set, and then size gets set, and then offset. So rotation gets set, and then the size gets set, and then this gets set. And then set this as the output. There we go. Now it shrinks. Yay! So then we need to paste what we had, because this is, we're going to by default shrink it. The sequence node is required. It's a required nuance of Substance Designer, and I don't know exactly why it's there, but it makes sure that these actually get set. If you set this and it's not actually connected as part of a sequence, it doesn't actually get set as far as the other variables are concerned. So based on the testing that I've done, you can set something in your local graph and not hook it up to a sequence, and you can get it. So if this isn't set there, I can get a float of rotation, and it's going to get this value. That works. But if I want to get rotation out here in this other place, technically another graph, in order to get it to communicate from branch offset out to rotation, it has to be a part of a sequence here for it to work. So basically, I set my rotation. That's the first thing I do. And then I set my corner scale. That's the second thing I do. And then I set this, which is the last thing, which goes into the default for this graph. Yes and no. So the way that I'm trying to think of a good example. Okay, so like a sampler node. So sample gray. What this does is it goes through and samples everything, every pixel, and it looks at it basically one row at a time in groups. And it will look at multiple rows at a time. So it'll look at row 1, 50, and 256 or whatever. These are going to be processed simultaneously to increase compute time or reduce compute time, increase efficiency. So it has this. It's going to calculate everything that it can using this at once. So if you don't have a sequence, it doesn't know to do this and then set it so that it can use it later. So things are asynchronous generally, is that it's doing processing on everything at once, but then you have to give it basically, you've done this, make sure that you set it so that it can be used later. So it doesn't really have anything to do with updating and being in real time. I think it has to do with the way that it processes this, because it's nodes, and so this is a branch, so it can process this branch and this branch at the same time. But unless you give it a sequence, it doesn't know how it needs to store each one, use them. At least that's my understanding. I could be totally wrong. If somebody else knows, I'm happy to learn. That's the way I understand it. So this, if we make it 8 and we give it a scale of 1, it's going to be pretty enormous. But what we need to know and validate is this offset. And I think this not multiplication, add. So we're going to do this stuff first, and then we're going to mess with it. So we have our corner scale value, we're going to use that. Oh, that's float 2. So rip the x out, rip the y out. Yes. And I think I have to multiply it by 0.5 because currently it's offsetting the whole length of it. If I multiply by 0.5, it's moving half of its width. Because its center is here, I'm going to move it so that the top is there. Yep. To make sure everything gets in the right order, because it's evaluating here logically top to bottom. Does this thing first, then this thing, then this thing, then this thing, then this thing, then this thing. And it does all that stuff top to bottom. So if you don't sequence it here, it doesn't know where to put it down here. Yes. thank you for distilling that very long-winded answer. That didn't behave as I expected. Oh, because it needs this. And I want subtract. So in the FX node, positive is moving toward the bottom in Y, and positive is moving to the right in X, I believe. So for this, we move it back in. So we move it positive, we move it down. But then when we want to move it in, we have to move it negative because negative is this way on the X. But it's positive this way on the Y, moving down. So instead of adding, we have to subtract. I may have moved it the wrong way. Go. Yeah, I'm getting into some stuff at work with asynchronous and synchronous programming, which has helped, but it's still really weird. So as an example, like go through this list of people and find ones that I've known for more than 10 years. With the list of people that come out of that, the ones that I've known for more than 10 years, we want to do something with them. What happens with asynchronous is while it's looking for the list of people that you've known for more than 10 years, it tries to do something with the list that it hasn't gotten yet. And then it's like, so for give me all the men that I've known for more than 10 years. So first I want to find all the people I've known for more than 10 years and then split them into male and female. So it'll say, you haven't known any men for more than 10 years. Because the list that it got hasn't been filled yet, it's empty. So then it finds 0 and 0. And you're like, what? I'm looking in the list and I can see that there are 5 people. That makes no sense. And you're like, oh, I have to have it wait till that thing's done. And use callbacks and stuff. Ah, that makes sense. Okay. Sorry about that. We'll keep it simple. Keep it simple. Okay. So the edges are staying stuck. So far, so good. So far, so good. If we change the scale, it stays Leafum. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. I appreciate the follow regardless of how poorly I pronounce your name. So now it's staying stuck to that corner, even as I change the size. So what we have is our scale for our corner element, which is very large. So I will shrink this down. Which is going to give me my inset spacing. So I'm going to do like 0.6. Maybe not that much, 0.8. Or maybe just turn auto scaling on, turn it back to 6. And I'm going to scale to 0.9, and then I can change my size and it'll scale it in. Okay, so now that I can see it there, 0.5 is probably good. I think it was like 0.3. So I scale it, and it's like it pushes it out because that corner is staying aligned. And as I switch it to something else, like this accent, and I change its size, it's moving it because the corner is anchored here, and that accent shape looks like this. So this space here is pushing that down. So I need the ability to push it back up and kind of manually into place against where it is. And I have a parameter for that already called shift corner. So what I'm going to do with that, I'm going to organize my graph here. So this is my horizontal, this is my vertical. Put these together and switch them. Just so that our vector float isn't all twisted. This back over here, this back over here. Okay, that's a little nicer. So then we want to add in our shifts. So we're going to get our float 2, which is our shift corner. We're going to split off our X and our Y, and then we're going to add them in. So now I can shift my corner up or down or in or out. And like this inset guy, shift him around. Height map's getting weird. Everything looks good. It's working. Cool. So then we have our each corner, which changes our iteration number to 4, and you can see that they're all getting stacked on top of each other. We don't want that. We want one to go here, then here, then here. So that's where we have to do some inversion. So we're going to get the number that we're on. Pass it. Number. There we are. So we're going to get the number. If it's, and which way do we want to go? So this is 0 up here. So this would be 0, 1, 2, 3. So if the number is equal to 1 or 2. Or we could do this. If it's greater than, oops, not get float, just a regular float. Let's do 1.5. It's greater than 0. And lower than 3. 0, 1, 2. Yeah. Lower than 3. And then we're going to take our value here and we're going to invert it. Otherwise, just use what it was before, which is a negate, which is multiplied by -1. So if our number is lower, or sorry, is greater than 0 and lower than 3, which is going to be 1 and 2, then we're going to use the inverse. We're going to flip it over here. Otherwise, it's just going to be where it normally is. And then we're going to duplicate this. So let's use our number again. Number. If the number is actually equal to 0. Whoa, this one. Instead of an and. So yeah, I probably should just have built it. Turn on each corner. And oh, that's not correct. If it's equal to 2 or 3. Because we're doing the vertical flip. It's greater than 1. So I had it correct for what I really needed. There we go. So this is our horizontal flip, so for 1 and 2, and then a vertical flip, which is for 2 and 3. So this makes it so it goes in all 4 corners when I say each corner. So then we have a bit of an issue where we need to get our Boolean of each corner, which is not called each corner, it's called all corners or something like that. Yeah. All corners. So we're going to use this value This is basically our flip horizontal and flip vertical. Just return this. See you later, Brendan. Thanks for stopping by. I'll be around. Okay. So then we have flip horizontal. So if we're doing all corners, or it's flip horizontal, then we want to use this value. Oops. Otherwise, we're just going to use the standard value. Pipe this in. And then duplicate this. This is flip V. And hopefully this will sort out the issue that I was having. So we have each corner true, and then we have our flip horizontally, flip vertically. It's not working. Oh, that's because it's supposed to be this. This actually needs to be restructured. That was what I had before. It's causing the issue. So, if its number is this and this, so if it's flipping horizontally, or if the number meets the criteria and we're doing all corners, then we want that value. So if we're doing all corners, or flip vertically, actually, this needs to be more robust too. So if we're not doing all corners and it's flipped horizontally, then so if it's not all corners and we're flipping vertically, then we do it. Ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh. And it doesn't break. Sweet. Oh, that's awesome. Save. Group this together to a frame. Say all corners and flipping. And then there's the rotation piece, which kind of uses the same methodology. So what it does is it would basically point these toward the center. Or not. its, I think, number. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to switch from bolts to accent so we can actually see the rotation better. So number, save this.
Cool.
Okay, so it's oops, get a Boolean. Oh, whoops. It's supposed to be add. It's like, what? Makes no sense. Makes total sense. Flip corners to float. Does that even work? Booleans are technically zeros and ones, so I thought that would work. Does not. Works beautifully. Excellent. The sets kind of tell you what it is, but and move these back a touch so I can frame this. This is offset. This offsets quadrant. Cool. Save. Get rid of this. Alright, let's take a quick stroll through these. I offset this. Not offset it. There we go. I want to blur this a little bit. It's weird that the very corner isn't behaving properly. Inside word mark. You can control the depth. So it may not be stamped in. Custom, there's nothing in it. Sweet. Flip in the corners. 256, we start to lose that edge, but we up it to 512 and comes back. Okay, what else? Top seam, true, false. Panels. I can let the panels fall off the edges if I want. I feel like confining them to this area is a good option. But not sure how to do it. A little bit of panel gap, sink seams.
I don't even know what this is.
Seams aren't exactly synced. I'm just losing the detail. Yeah, where are no vertical seams? Oh, they're just disappearing. Wait, why did I do this? Oh, it's probably because I ran into an issue and I couldn't figure it out. We need to do the same exact thing that we're doing here with this. Gap times the ratio. Why does it seem thinner? It's supposed to be this way? Yes. That explains some of it. Those still disappear. Too small. Right. We'll take our X panels down, Y panels down. Seems pretty thin. Good. fence. Don't maintain. Load that preset that we have. Okay, so with the changes that we made to the corners and the way that that's calculated, pull this back over here. So we have this offset, which we don't or shouldn't need anymore for our defaults. We'll save a new preset. I'm tearing these panels controls off. All right, so we've got this Sci-Fi panel thing that does a ton. I feel like we could add to it forever. And then we get into this. So one of the things that I was thinking about is using a real material blend and then just setting up materials and blending them. So multi-material blend, a little expensive, but it allows me to mask materials into a specific color. So instead of outputting all of this stuff, we'd still do these ones probably, but all of this, I'm just going to combine that into a mask, a single mask, so that we can just do whatever we want, and then we could set up options for it. So we have this, we have this, we have this, this guy, which is an inverse of this. Why am I doing that there and not over here? So what I'm going to do is do a blend, color, change this to absolute, shrink it, and then we're going to mask this stuff in instead of outputting these like that. Take this guy. Well, start with a base of black. And then do red. This is going to be like that. And then we're going to blend off of this. Let's say blue. So then we have our blue corners. And then we need to grab this from over here. To green. Then we have that, and then we have our corner accents. I feel like this can be moved. They are here. Don't need that output. Make this, it's going to go inside the red, so we don't want it to be probably blue and green. And we have that. What else would we need? Our seams, maybe? No. We have our corner accents. We have our panel item. We have a separate output for what that actually looks like. That's not okay. Why is there that giant gap on the side? We have, yeah, output for the panel. We probably need it, I think. So we have the actual aesthetic. Now go back, fix this. All right. So we go back here and look at our outputs real quick. They're coming from the Sci-Fi panels. Corner accents. You can map that into utilities. No, way too much. Alright, so all our masks are gone, but it would allow us to blend with this, where we can pick our color. So I'm going to build some materials, and we're going to put it inside of Sci-Fi panels. Inside of here. At the end, I think. So I was thinking about the problem with trying to re-expose everything that's in here. All of this. I'm going to re-expose it on top of the node that's nested inside. It seems a little bit counterintuitive when I have everything here that I can just use and then do a blend material. So I'm going to take rust. So instead, trying to combine everything all weird like. What is this? Leaks. Come on, great input. So there's the color for rust, and then I need to make roughness for it. So currently the height map hasn't updated because it's pulling from the Sci-Fi panels. So all I'm caring about is the roughness in this view. I'm going to create a new material that'll be used for grates and things, and I'll just map that to where it needs to be. And then we're going to have something coming out of the leaks here. They will be white. Trying to set it to add. It's most dark at the top. And then I could switch this too. I could make it so that you could swap it to subtract and have the leaks feel like they're wet, rather like greasy, rather than caked with dirt. So then we need to make metalness. Use a similar starting point. So I want to be set to subtract because the leaks are definitely not metal. And adjust this. It's just black. So let's take this into here real quick. I'm going to change our outputs. Just going to do this. Then I need dupe normal, hide this. Yeah, we can keep curvature as an output. So then we're going to drop rusted in. We're going to need to give it an ambient occlusion. Maybe we wanted to calculate that inside the graph. So instead of giving it an AO, I'm just going to do like the shape here to again. Put that in. We put our height in, put our normal in, put our curvature in, and then we get a rusted, leaky thing. Do a multi-material blend. Change our channels here. We don't use diffuse, we use base color. We don't use specular, we use roughness. We don't use glossiness, we use metallic. And height we're not going to bother with because the height's going to be the same. So then normal 2 actually. And then we don't have a material that we're blending it with, and we don't have a mask yet. So type that in, and we say that we're actually looking at the red. So we're pushing into this well a little bit. And that is super shiny. Let's fix that. This is supposed to be lighten. Understand why it's also dark. Oh, because I hooked up the wrong thing. Oh, weird with the almost not exactly going underneath this, even though it should. Like we're not seeing that texture underneath this. Maybe we need normals? Oh, didn't do anything. Maybe we're just not seeing it because of the way the roughness is. So weird. Alright, well, that's that. Let's make some carbon fiber, which is this. I'm gonna up this for now so we can see the detail. If you guys have any questions, want me to go over anything or stop, whatever reason, just let me know. I'm happy to explain my thought process and why I'm doing what I'm doing. This gradient map. Oh, that was just a remap of the height. Just way lower. Instead of calling from color. Then take that, invert it, so we are roughness. Going to do a Sorry, metallic. Shouldn't really matter, but I want to play it safe. Let's do some housekeeping. Make sure these are good. Then I want to do carbon fiber, face color, roughness. Oh, my metallic's a color. Don't want my metallic to be a color. Needs to be grayscale. Needs to be grayscale. Save. Sci-Fi panels. Metallic. Let's try blending normals. Normal. This doesn't have any. Let's see if that causes an issue. And then material 2 is going to be blue. Wait, maybe I don't understand how this works. So it looks like the surface is under there. So instead of doing it here, this surface detail and having a switcher, I'll just do it in each material. I'm going to take this, copy it, go to Rusted, paste it, and I'll map out of this. Output this is my normal. Save. Back to Sci-Fi panels. I'm going to get rid of this surface detail. It was fun putting everything together, figuring it out. So carbon fiber corners, I'm going to shrink a little bit more. It's pretty cool. So then I need to make like a bent metal. I'm going to throw the kettle on really quick. Be right back. So I want to do kind of painted metal for the greatness. The greatness. So we'll start from scratch. I call this painted metal. So first things first, we gotta make our paint. Let's start with the black and white spots because it has some unevenness to it. Histogram range to flatten it out for the normal part. Then invert this. So it's kind of a satin finish. Yes. Some speckles. I think I'm gonna do run this in, that, that. Actually, that's fine. See it. Color is pretty nice. Just a little bit of variation in it, less speckling. Gradient map this, and I want it to be kind of a dark blue. Oh, the water's done. Be right back. All right. Looks pretty good. So then, yeah, it looks decent. I'm gonna put in some metal. So what we could do is use this metal edgeware. Position in this case is expecting color. Position. I'm trying to remember when you bake it what it looks like. Just Google it. Presents painter position. They have a little preview in their documentation. Ah, it's all weird. It bakes all your axes in the RGB channels. We could try. We could try that. Try this. Normal map. Combine. We're gonna combine the one that we have with our normal map. We'll use this for now. We'll use this as a test for ambient occlusion. What do we get? Something that's all right. we can only really test it when we do it for real. So I'm going to take our roughness map. Basically going to just say that the whole thing is pretty much non-metal. Oh, just a little bit, or maybe where the pink gets thin shows the metal through. And then I'm going to take this to subtract, no, add. That's our metalness. And then blend this mask in here. That's our paint, basically. There's a photo of scratched metal. That's cool. Scratches. It's not gonna work. Have to be like so we have a normals here. So then it'd be a cycle, which we can't do. Okay, so this. So this is our curvature. Yeah, it's because I'm moving stuff around. So I'm combining this normal and that normal together. To that, this normal is going in here, and then instead doing a curvature, this is just going to be a curvature. And then ambient occlusion is, this is just going to be an ambient occlusion. Okay, so these are all inputs. Things are getting weird. So this is going to go in here. This is going to go up over there. This is going there. This. Inputs. And then that should be Hardsurface metal. We're using that over here. Yeah. And I wasn't talking, so. Should crank your volume way up.
Hey, see, I didn't even know that you came out here. So sneaky.
I may want to expose some of these where parameters in the panels. It's still weird that the rust it's like the rust normal just isn't carrying through at all. Could be because I didn't have things blended properly. Which is what it was. Carbon fiber normal is way too intense. Also might be a little too shiny. So then I can take this, turn it to red, and then it's rusted. Or take this, turn it to red, and it's rusted. So I think that's how I'm going to do my switching on this. You just have, you basically choose what material you want for each piece. and then it will just set the mask up for you. So this painted metal looks really nice, but I have to be able to turn off this damage, I think, or make it all metal. So let's throw a color in there. Wee. Grayscale. And then this will turn everything metal or everything not. Change this color. Set this to add. Turn it to metalware. If it equals paint or both, it's black. Just 0 or 2. I can't remember blending modes. I'm going to expose it and then use this as a reference. It's an integer 1, slider of 0 through 10. So 0, 1.
I think you're so predictable.
So if the mode is paint, then is going to be black, adding. So then this is going to be set to 1. Otherwise, it's going to be set to so it's always going to be at. Taint, metal, both. If it's metal, it should just be all metal. It looks like it is. No, it's kind of weird, but it's fine. Alright, so if the mode is just metal, then it's just metal. If it's paint, it's just paint. This should actually be set to copy. So if it's 0, it's set to copy. If it's 1, it's fine. Both should be set to multiply. Okay. So if it's the mode is lower than 2, then blending mode is set to 0, which is copy. But if it's both, then it's set to 1. That should be correct. And then there's the where piece that we could control. But that'll be in a bit. We now have textured rusted metal. We have this painted both. It's being weird. That's not what I want. So it's set to paint. This is black covering this up. Should be. The scratches look terrible. I'm not sure what happened there. There should just be a few. Like, not that much. I guess when you up the res, all of these ones become way more apparent. That's probably what it is. Back over here. It's better. Still not great, but it's better. So let's tie in the wear amount. And then we got to make the white kind of acrylic look. Like no surface is perfect, so I want to have a little bit of something in there. I have a few smudges here and there. Mainly people are going to put their hands on the wall. Somebody will sneeze. No, I'm just going to use a color. It's not metal. Do absolute. Save some processing time. See if that causes any issues. And then I'm going to use this roughness basically for the start of my color. And then make it a little warm red in there. And we don't want it to be like 100% white. It's just really awkward. Once you start actually hitting it with light. Once it's in the light, it's pretty bright. We grab another environment map. Airport. That's pretty white. The things that we're going to do before everything ends up in its final resting place. Especially the base color. We're going to run an ambient occlusion. Spreading might be a little much. We just want to use this to help ground all of our shadowing. Especially when we get into the acrylic. Yes, I am. And may start modeling that today. Alright, so we got this rust. We're going to make the rust like so it doesn't show up anywhere. Material 4, it's going to show up on the red. And I'm going to make this red too. And then for our events, we're just going to say paint. I guess acrylic should probably be the base. And then carbon fiber can be the top one. And now the other things we want to do is to our roughness. We're going to blend an adjusted curvature map on top of that. This is going to help highlight the edges. Actually soften it a touch. And the last piece would be like paint, just a general paint. So I'm going to use this painted metal, and we're just going to take this. What is the second level scribing? Oh, metal, which we don't need. Trying to think about the best way to do this. So then I can expose the color here. And then just call it color, color. The normals will get masked in, roughness. Let's do another blend. And then do an input grayscale for a map. It's going to be mask, mask. Set to multiply. Pretty much how it works. Well, if there is no mask, because default of this is black. Um, and then my default color, I'm set to like one of those like space warning orange. Warning. Something like that. Oops. Did it again. Great. currently produce these little guys, but ooh, this doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. These two. It's interesting that it's not really grabbing all of it. Or it's part of the normal. Nope. Oh, it's the ambient occlusion because it's going in. So word mark, depth. Lower the depth. There we go. Each corner falls, rotate around center, false. And what the? It's color 3. Ooh, fuzziness is significant. I didn't realize it would branch so far into the other color spectrum. Yeah. Wow.